Wow. Say it ain't so. I try to tell you, Devin Haney's stock has dropped. Y'all didn't want to believe me. Now Tim Bradley has come out and said something so shocking, I just got to play it for you. Roll the clip.
Number 2, Devin Haney. You want to get back, man, go back to your roots, bro. Go back to where you started, bro. Where'd you start? You started in Mexico, man. Go back, get one of those guys out of there, man. Go back, start there. That's where you start. Go back to your roots, bro. Get some of that humble pie, bro. Go back, start where you started. Start where you started at. And bro, I'm telling you, you go back where you started, you're gonna come back up. You're gonna come back up on top. Peace.
Wow. Go back where it all began, says Tim Bradley. You hate to see it. Listen, I like competition. Competition is amazing for me because you have content creators, you have Haniacs, and they're willing to say anything. You also have fans. They say, oh, Boxing Ego, you're not telling the truth. This, that, and the third. Everything I say is true, people. And now you guys are getting to see it. This is all bad. You got Timothy Bradley, who is suggesting to Devin Haney that he goes back where it all began and fight in Mexico after the Ryan Garcia fight. Now, why is this bad? For me, this is bad because Devin Haney was in a completely different situation. Like, his trajectory was headed in a whole different direction. He moved up in weight. Like, he narrowly escaped the fight with Lomachenko. Some people thought he lost. Some people thought he won. Some people thought it was a draw. Got past it. He looked like he was tapped at 135. Couldn't make the weight class anymore. Makes the right decision for where he's at in his career and his body, and he moves up. He looks good in the fight. I was at the fight. It was against Regis Prograis. And he looked sharp in the fight. Hurt, dropped Regis Prograis. I will say, I don't know how well that win actually ages. Like most of Devin's wins, like Kambosos. Like Kambosos, after he lost to Devin, I thought he lost to Maxie Hughes after that, and then he got stopped by Lomachenko. So it's like these wins aren't aging well. Jojo Diaz, he went 12 with Devin, and then later on he gets stopped by Oscar Duarte, beat by William Zepeda. Like, virtually none of Devin's wins, except for maybe Lomachenko, in my opinion, have aged well. That's just how I see it, people. Gotta keep it a buck. Then you lose to Ryan Garcia. That goes what I was saying. And now you're stuck. It's just so much has been going on in Devin's career. Devin is trying to be optimistic. He talking about 2024 was his best year and it taught him so much. And it's funny because I made a video about it. They were like, oh, Ego, come on. He had a daughter, so that's why he's saying that. That's not what he said. It's so funny that to make a point, you got people who are really willing to lie to make a point. Your boy Ego don't have to do all that, right? He said 2024 was my best year. So that would have to include 365 days. You can't say 2025 is your best year or 2024 is your best year, but 80% of it outside of 1 month or one occurrence was terrible, and then say the whole year was good and expect people to believe it. Like, I'm never going to talk about a man's child. You know, that's not what I do. So congratulations on the baby. But as far as where his career's at, it is what I said. The Haniacs, They're lying, and now you see that the Haneyacks are dying. The Haneyacks, they tried at the beginning, like when this Ryan fight first happened, right, before we got to the B sample, they were trying to counter program me. They were trying to argue. Now you're seeing Devin and Bill Haney and the brand has taken such a hit. Now they're just shutting up. They're not really even trying to save Devin Haney at this point, because they know the more that they stick their neck on and over the edge to try to make it look good, some of these situations like the Young Thug situation, the punching the ride conductor at the carnival, the worse it's getting. Now you have Bill Haney, who's in search of new channels, trying to get other new YouTube channels popping so he can spread his narratives and lies in boxing. And you got your peers are judging you. Andre's like, hey, I thought maybe this could be the guy that would beat Gervonta Davis, but I got to go off of his last fight. His last fight, I don't really know. I don't really know based on how he looked. So for me, this all spells trouble for Devin Haney and his brand, because it's just, he's taking such a major hit and it's undeniable at this point. It truly is. You got a guy like Tim Bradley who is telling him to fight in Mexico. Go back to your roots and fight in Mexico. This is insane to me. Devin Haney turned pro at age 17. Right now, he's about 26 years old. You want him to go back to Mexico? It's been like 9 years, almost a decade. And you want Tim Bradley wants Devin to go to Mexico and fight in Mexico now. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. If this is even considered, it's just more testament to what I've been saying on the channel, that Devin is in between a rock and a hard place. What would Devin be doing fighting in Mexico at this point? Who could he even fight? And it's funny because Bill Haney last month, so basically last year at this point, because we're in 2025, he said we got big news coming soon. Where's the big news? We still haven't heard it. And it's like almost like the Haneys are stalling. They've turned down several fights for one reason or another, and it's looking like a stall tactic. They're stalling, trying to figure out their next move. And instead of just keeping it real and being like, hey, we're suing Ryan Garcia because he's wrecked our brand. That's what the lawsuit, unjust enrichment, battery, and basically saying their brand has taken a hit. Their marketability, their market value has taken a hit. But instead of just keeping it real and being like, hey, we got to deal with this lawsuit, they're, at least Bill Haney, he's making it sound like they have plentiful options, so many options to choose from, but he can never tell you what those options are. So, I mean, you guys read between the lines. Who's keeping it real? I put out videos last month. I said, if I'm lying, I'm flying. Announce your fight by Christmas. Devin is the one that said he's fighting December. Clearly, that's not the case because we're already past and out of December and it's January 2025. Yet we still have no idea who Devin is even going to fight. So this spells trouble. Now, I always say this on my channel, you're going to be judged by your peers. Your peers are telling you, hey, you need to go back to your roots and fight in Mexico where you started when you were 17. How do you know Mexico even wants Devin Haney at this point? And I'm not even being facetious. I'm not even trying to be funny. How do you know that they even want Devin Haney? Because when he was 17, he was unknown maybe. So he went to Mexico and padded his record basically. And even one of those fights, people like Rolly said and Regis Prograis, they believe that Devin Haney stole a win. Like he really lost and they paid to make it go away. That's what people were saying. So again, all that stuff works. You're 17 years old, young in your career. But if Devin has to do what Bradley is saying, that's a major backtrack, right? You could just be fighting Teofimo now it looks like Teofimo's fighting Subriel Matias. So the Haneyaks, they said, oh, Teo ducked because Devin said he ducked. But if Teo now fights a former champion, just like Devin was at 140, with far more power than Devin Haney, a guy like Subriel Matias, so that's a dangerous guy. He lost to Liam Paro, yes, but he didn't get knocked out. And then he come back and got a knockout win. So you can't really say that Teo ducked Devin in 2024 because the Haneyaks said it, when Subriel Matias is a dangerous out for anybody at 140, even at this point. And based on, you got to look at boxing based on what has transpired recently. Boxing has always been a what have you done for me lately sport. So that being said, Subriel Matias got more motion than Devin Haney does right now. So it's hard to make that argument, no matter how much you may hate Teo or some of his antics and what he says, to put the duck tag on him for 2024 like the Haney suggested doesn't really make sense, especially if he fights Subriel Matias. Meanwhile, we still don't know who Devin Haney is going to fight. So as I've stated on my channel, Devin is in between a rock and a hard place because they keep saying they have big news. They keep saying they want to get back in the fight game and return, but we're not hearing who they're fighting. Bill Haney will do interviews with Fight Hub or whoever and say, oh, we got a ton of options. It's the Devin Haney era. Yeah, era, not ERA, but error, ERROR is the Devin Haney error. And I think I'll make a separate video, but there's a multitude of different reasons why I think it's becoming difficult for Devin to get a fight. And part of it's Team Haney being unrealistic with probably demands. Listen, all you have to do is listen to what people say. Devin's team is saying stuff like, we're the A side over Teo. I don't know that that's the case. They may feel that they're the A side, but you know, oh, we've been on pay-per-view and Teo hasn't. Boxing, again, what have you done for me lately? Things of that sort. So I don't know that even if Devin was the A side somehow over Teofimo, it's not by much. It's not like Canelo's the A side over Billy Joe Saunders or Tank's the A side over Frank Martin. The gap is not that wide. Pause. We're going to pause that up. But the gap's not as wide. So for me, that's not even something you should be double downing on. You should be looking for a fight. Bill's the manager, trainer, and father. He says he has a game plan. I feel like the longer you're out, the more it's hurting the brand at this point, because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And people want to know what your next move is, especially with all the woofing and talking that you hear from Haneyaks and Team Haney. People want to know what your next move is. But this is nasty work. You got the boy Tim Bradley saying that Devin should go to another country again like he did when he was 17. Again, this worked when he was 17 because he was a brand new pro. He couldn't get licensed in America because of the age, because he was so young and talented. He was undefeated. So Mexico was probably happy to have him. But now, lawsuits later, punching people at the carnival, the Ryan Garcia fight, the crying, you know, the lying, oh, it's my best year in 2024, all this type of stuff. You don't even know if Mexico would want Devin Haney, you know, a Devin Haney fight. So as I've stated, Devin's in between a rock and a hard place, because if he wasn't, prove me wrong. That's all you have to do. Don't say nothing. Don't tweet. Don't text. Don't make videos. Don't subliminally respond. All you have to do is, just like Bill Haney gave Ryan Garcia a 48-hour deadline, the boxing fans are giving the Haneys a 48-hour deadline. And that's to announce your next fight. See how that works? They wanted Ryan to do whatever they requested and sign up for VADA while he's suspended within 48 hours. So the boxing fans are requesting that the Haneys announce their next fight. They keep telling the public that they have all these options and it's the Devin Haney era. So it should be, we have a brand new clean slate, brand new year, 2025. It literally should be nothing for you to announce your next fight then. Peace.